Then he entered the synagogue and taught, and a man was there whose right hand was withered. So the scribes and Pharisees watched him closely, whether he would heal on the Sabbath, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man who had the withered hand, Arise and stand here. And he arose and stood. Then, Jesus said to them, I will ask you one thing. Now watch this. What does it say Jesus already knew?
Their minds.
He already knew? Let me tell you all something. Okay? There are people that comes in your life every day. You already know what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You do. You already know.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know? You know by their attitude, their disposition. Always the intent of their heart is to do what? Either mock, trip you up, make you look foolish or somebody else when it comes to spiritual matters. Mm-hmm. So it's not really a great deal of discernment it takes you to understand when so and 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 so come in the room.
Right.
They're not there to help.
No.
Amen? They're not there to help. They're there to do what? Tear down, eliminate, make look foolish, bring it down so that everybody looks foolish. And then, when they discredit you, they discredit God. And then what does that do? Watch this now. Watch this now. See, the devil is evil. Okay?
Amen.
The devil's evil. When people can come around and discredit you, then others will discredit you in God, and that brings discreditation, that's not a good word, but discreditation against God. Then it makes the sinner look okay. And it justifies their sin. It justifies their lack of faith. It justifies their unbelief. Why? Because they tripped you up. You couldn't answer a question that they asked. One day they're going to wind up and know what? They were the biggest fool they ever knew. Because when anybody stands face to face with Jesus one day, they are going to understand, I was the biggest fool I ever knew. But watch now, here we go. Then Jesus said to them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil? To save life or to destroy life? What kind of a holy man would go against that? What kind of scribe would say that's not the kind of God we serve? What kind of Pharisee would say, stop right now, that's heresy, and don't you preach that any longer? Anybody?
No.
If you were a scribe and a Pharisee back in that day, there is no way you could counteract what Jesus just said. Amen?
Amen.
Now, watch what they say though. Verse 10. And when he had looked around at them all, he said to the man, stretch out your hand. And he did so, and his hand was restored as whole as the other. Now watch what they said. But they were filled with rage and disgust with one another, what they might do to Jesus. Oh, he just healed a man. We got to kill him.
Yeah.
This to show you what kind of evil is in the world. And this is why, brethren, you and I got to understand the process of our love and how to channel our love into wisdom. Channel your love into the proper realm of wisdom. How do you learn to do that? How do you learn to do that? Get into His Word. You won't ever know what to do with love. The devil knows he can get you upset. He can get you frustrated. He can make you feel little about yourself when you don't understand how to channel your emotions in the proper type of wisdom.
Amen.
There are people walking in love right now don't know how to understand it in wisdom and have killed people. Do you ever Seen them on TV?
Yep.
And then called it what?
Christian.
They went deeper than that. When people do not know how to channel their love into wisdom to work through situations in their life, and they kill somebody, they always blame
Oh, yeah.
God told me to do it. God told me to do this. That's from a person who don't know how to understand the proper way to channel love into wisdom. You see, brother, and this goes a lot deeper than what we first started out thinking. Amen? This is why, listen, you need to recognize and understand your experiences you're having with Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And how important it is in your life to be attentive, to be awake, and to be learned, and to be doing the proper things that God's calling you to do.
Amen.
To know your word better than ever. Why? You learn how to channel your love that way.
Amen.
Now watch what happens to Christ in John chapter 8. This is bringing all the perfect storm together. So what happened the first two times? The Pharisees caught him out in the grain field. What happened? Strike one. Then they teamed up because they knew they couldn't counteract him there. They looked foolish. So they went and got the scribes. Brought the scribes. Now the Pharisees are together. Now they're in close. Now they think they have him. They have him in a place where he's going to be defamed. He's going to be made look foolish. And what happens again? Strike two. Are they done?
Oh.
Perfect storms brewing. Perfect storms brewing. The first two, see, is the wind from the north. And the last one is, the second one was the wind from the south. Now they're going to bring in the big boy, the wind from the east. And when they collide, watch out. Now, they know they can't defeat him with the word. They can't defeat him with the actions of the church. Where did they meet the first couple times?
Rainfield in the synagogue.
In the synagogue. So, they tried to do it what? In other words, they tried to defeat him. Just let me I'll use a term that none of us in here, we are this, but I'll just use this term because we all know it. They tried to do it religiously. Okay? The first two parts of the storms is they tried to do it religiously. They thought if they could just get him with the word and that was it, then they could just count him out. Amen? But the third storm is a bigger storm, and now they bring in what? Watch what happens here. Luke chapter 8. John chapter 8, start there in verse 1.